Welcome, all of you. I'm going to start by telling you a story. Many years ago, I was an assistant producer in television documentaries and really desperate to make my first half hour. And an opportunity came up because the exec told us one day he was going to choose from one of 3 APs. There were 3 of us, 2 men and a woman, the woman being me. And of the men, 1 was Oxbridge and 1 was not. There was no process, no formal application. And guess who got handpicked? Oxbridge. You know, he was a really smart guy, confident, assured, clever. So it made sense. To me, especially, I suffered from lack of self-belief. So for a while, I crawled into my cocoon and stayed there. But the dream to direct and produce was so powerful that one day I went to my exec, summoned up the courage and said, "Can you tell me how I'm doing and what I need to do to get picked the next time?" The exec was a lovely man again. He had one of those faces, you know, that always smiled, and he was known to be really decent. And this is what he told me. "Seetha, you should be really pleased. You know, you've done really well for someone who's crossed the cultural divide. Just keep doing what you're doing. You're good at it." I froze. I simply did not know what to do with what he told me. So I responded in the only way I knew how, which was to hunker down and beaver away. Today, you know, through the cascade of years, I look at that exchange and I believe that that exec responded in the only way he knew how. You see, he didn't know many people like me. So he had to take a risk. He had to take the safest bet. And so what did he do? He chose someone like himself. It's so hard when you apply for jobs, and even as you fill in the application, you know you're not going to have an equal shot. There are so many odds against you, a woman, being a mother, being an Asian. And I would say that is the case even today. Now, the reason I'm sharing the story is one thing I've realized is people have good intentions, but what trips them up is their blind spots and their fears. This is why we have not made the progress that we talk about and would like to see in diversity across film, television, animation, and games. We all know there's a problem with a lack of diversity in the screen sector. We also know we have a long way to go before we get the rigorous data we need to really understand the scale of the challenge. But let me give you a snapshot of some stats. According to Ofcom 2018 data, the stats for PSPs are, you can have a look, and disability, 6%, BAME, 13%, and gender, okay, 46%, but only 41% in senior management. And you can have a look at sexual orientation and age. UK Screen Alliance report that BAME representation in visual effects is 15%, which kind of sounds promising till you remember that visual effects are heavily concentrated in London, so the figure could be closer to 40% to reflect the local population. The evidence that exists for film suggests it's no better. And for games, the figures are really low. Just 19% of employees are female, even though around half of gamers are women. And only 4% of people employed by those who make games, companies that do so, in the UK are from BAME backgrounds. Now, the challenge isn't just with new recruits. We still have very, very few senior role models. Now, there is, of course, the fact that as you go up the working pyramid, it narrows. I know that some of the challenges I've faced in my career are nothing to do with me being an outsider. They were to do with turf war, or because others wanted the job, and in some cases, the job I was doing. But sometimes the challenges of being a woman or from a BAME background are compounded by comments people make. Comments that haven't been thought through, that show a lack of sensitivity, and often made by people who believe and genuinely regard themselves as well-meaning. In my early months at Creative Skill Set, now ScreenSkills, I recall being lectured at by a really well-known industry figure. He talked to me about the importance of diversity. I heard him patiently for a while, and then quietly I said, I do understand, you know. I have lived some of it. He didn't even hear me. I think he was so entranced by his own monologue because he was the gallant knight on the rescue. We all, and I include myself here, have hidden biases. What we carry from a lifetime of exposure to cultural attitudes about age, gender, ethnicity, religion, socioeconomic background, sexual orientation, disability, and nationality. But the good thing, and the good thing I have observed in all my years in the business, is there's a genuine desire and drive for change. The big shift from when I started is creatively, we do recognize we absolutely need a kaleidoscope of stories. Stories that are textured, richly hued, that reflect the stories of our country, our population. And to tell those stories with authenticity, we need a workforce that reflects our population. Just makes sense. And the first step with any change is awareness. That is why we believe today's workshop on unconscious bias should be invaluable, and why the whole program has been designed to equip all of us to better help promote and enable a diverse range of talent. At ScreenSkills, diversity and inclusion is woven into everything we do. One of the problems historically with our sector is access. How do you get in? Our work in careers and accreditation is designed to explain and create clearer career pathways for those who don't have industry connections, helping create what I hope will be a more level playing field. We're also working really hard to unlock the apprenticeship levy, as we believe apprentices, if we can make the levy work, can be the catalyst for change and really affect the change in the workforce we need. We know our programs help develop diverse talent. For example, we do a lot of work on unscripted and have had phenomenal success, and I will say phenomenal, in terms of diversity with, look at the commissioner program, 2/3 were women and 93% from BAME. Our highly regarded series producer program, now it's returning for its 4th run, has been 67% female, 26% BAME, and 9% disabled. And via ITF, we run the PACT Indie Diversity Scheme, targeted at placing diverse talent in television. 77% of people have gone on through the scheme since 2013, and they're still in the industry. And our trainee finder placement program is also got very good stats. But there are still quite a few structural issues we in the industry need to address. For example, as an industry, we do need to be far more transparent in how we recruit, not just at the entry level, but actually at every level, mid-tier and senior. Now, the skill shortages that we all are experiencing and we talk about and live and breathe should be a spur to action in terms of recruitment and changing our pool of talent. More than ever, it is so important for us, all of us, to share insights, experience of practical doing. So Kay Elliott, who leads on High and TV, and Gareth, who leads on film and animation, will share what we are doing on programs such as Trainee Finder and Make a Move, and some of the successes we've had to date. Change takes a long time. As Sam Cooke immortalized in A Change Is Gonna Come, I'm able to carry on. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change is gonna come. Oh yes, it will. Enjoy your day.